You know that feeling, right? Every developer does. Your app is running perfectly on your machine, but then you think about the journey to get it into the cloud, and it just feels like this minefield of manual steps and things that can go wrong. Well, today, we're going to change all that. We are going to build a totally seamless, automated pipeline that takes your code from a simple git push all the way to a live application, and it's all powered by GitHub Actions. So let's dive in. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by talking about a problem I think we all know too well, the deployment headache. Then we'll introduce the hero of the story, the automated pipeline. After that, we'll do a quick manual dry run just so we understand all the moving parts. Then we get to the fun stuff, building our blueprint for automation. We'll see it in action with a push, deploy, and repeat cycle. And finally, we'll talk about your brand new CI/CD superpower. Ah, yes, we've all been here. You have poured hours, maybe days, into getting your code just right. It runs flawlessly on your local machine. But now what? Now comes the stressful part, deployment. It's usually this tangled mess of SSH commands, copying files, and just crossing your fingers hoping you didn't forget one tiny, crucial step. This, my friends, is the deployment headache. And look, this manual way of doing things isn't just slow, it's incredibly fragile. A single typo can bring your entire app down. And how on earth are you supposed to scale this when you have a whole team working together? It's just chaos waiting to happen. It's pretty clear this approach is broken. So what if there was a better way? Well, spoiler alert, there is. And this is where our automated CI/CD pipeline makes its grand entrance. The absolute best way to think about it is like an assembly line for your software. Instead of you manually carrying your code through each stage, building it, testing it, deploying it, you build a machine that does it all for you. And it does it perfectly every single time. So what exactly is CI/CD? Well, continuous integration, that's the CI part, is where developers are constantly merging their code into one central place. And every time they do, it automatically kicks off builds and tests. Then you've got continuous deployment, or CD, which takes it one step further. It automatically deploys every single change that passes those tests straight into production. The big takeaway here? Automation. Automation is the engine that drives this whole thing, getting rid of all that manual work and the risk of human error. And this flow right here lays it out perfectly. It all kicks off when a developer, maybe you, pushes some code to the main branch. That push is the trigger. It fires up a GitHub action. From there, a brand new virtual machine spins up, it builds your app into a self-contained Docker image, and it runs all your tests. And if everything looks good, it automatically deploys that new version to the cloud. You don't have to do a thing. Okay, now before we build this amazing automation, I think it's super valuable to walk through the whole process manually just once. Doing this gives us a crystal clear blueprint of every single command our pipeline needs to run, from building the Docker image all the way to setting up the resources in the cloud. So for this dry run, here's what we'll need on our checklist. We're starting with a super simple Hello World app built with FastAPI, which is a great modern Python framework. We'll need a Docker file. Think of this as the recipe for packaging our app into a neat little container. We'll also need Docker Desktop to build that container on our own machine, and the Azure CLI so we can talk to the cloud. And last but not least, a Docker Hub account, which is basically a public garage where we can park our finished container image. First things first, we've got to containerize the app. This Docker build command reads our Docker file and packages everything up into an image. And pay attention to the naming here, your username/my app. That prefix is super important because it tells Docker exactly which Docker Hub account to use. Once the image is built and tagged, a simple Docker push sends it right up to the hub. All right, next, we need to get a home ready for our app in the cloud. Over in Azure, all your stuff lives inside something called a resource group, so we'll create one of those first. Then we create a container app environment. This environment provides all the networking and plumbing our little serverless container needs to run. It's kind of like preparing the plot of land before you actually build the house. Okay, we've done the manual labor, we get all the steps. Now for the real magic. We are going to translate that entire manual process into a blueprint. It's a YAML file that literally teaches GitHub how to do all of that work for us automatically. And this comparison just says it all, doesn't it? Instead of running Docker and Azure commands on our own machine, a virtual machine up in GitHub's cloud does it for us. Instead of juggling sensitive passwords and keys on our laptop, we use GitHub secrets to store them securely. The whole thing goes from this slow, manual chore to a fast, repeatable, and totally automatic workflow. It's a huge upgrade. Let's talk about something that is absolutely non-negotiable: security. You never, ever, ever commit passwords or credentials directly into your code. Just don't do it. Instead, we use GitHub secrets. These are basically encrypted variables that you store safely in your repository settings. For this to work, we'll need our Docker Hub username and an access token to log in, and then we'll add our Azure credentials. This is a big block of JSON that acts like a robot account, giving GitHub permission to securely manage our stuff in Azure for us. This right here, this is the heart of our automation blueprint. It's the workflow file, and it has to live in this special .github/workflows directory. And this tiny little piece of code is the trigger. It's telling GitHub Actions, hey, pay attention. Whenever someone pushes new code to the main branch, I want you to run all the steps that I'm about to define. It's that simple. Okay, the blueprint is written. The secrets are stored away safely. The trigger is set. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's make one tiny change to our code, push it up to GitHub, and just sit back and watch our automated pipeline spring to life. The change we're making is super small. We're just adding a new page, a little /about endpoint, to our application. That's it. We'll save the file, commit the change with a nice message, and then we run the one and only command that starts this whole incredible chain reaction: git push. From this exact moment, our job as a developer is done. The machines are taking over. And check this out. The instant we push, the clock starts. Within seconds, GitHub kicks off our workflow. It builds a brand new Docker image with our new About page inside. Then it pushes that image up to Docker Hub, logs into Azure using our secrets, and tells Azure to deploy the new version. In about 2.5 minutes, our change is live for the entire world to see, and we didn't have to lift another finger. How cool is that? Now, a quick but important heads up about serverless platforms like this. One of the reasons they're so cost-effective is that they can scale down to 0. They literally put your container to sleep when nobody's using it. This means the very first person to visit after a while might see a tiny delay. We call that a cold start as the container wakes up. But don't worry, every single visit after that will be instantaneous. So, we did it. We built a fully automated deployment pipeline. But this is more than just a neat party trick. It's a fundamental shift in how we build and ship software. Let's just take a second to recap why this is such a massive game changer. I mean, the benefits are just huge. You get incredible speed, right? You can ship updates to your users in minutes instead of hours or days. You get consistency because the process is the same every single time, which gets rid of human error. That makes things so much safer and finally kills that dreaded, well, it worked on my machine problem. For teams, it means everybody can chip in with confidence, knowing the deployment is handled. And maybe the most important thing of all, it gives developers back their time so they can focus on what they do best: writing great code and building cool features. And that's really the superpower here. You've just taken a complex, stressful, error-prone process and boiled it down to a single, simple command: git push. By solving deployment, you've unlocked your most valuable resource, your time, to focus on what really matters. So the question I'll leave you with is this: now that you can do this, what incredible new things are you going to build next?